I believe. Another
I
thing
think we would certainly need a new runway and a new terminal at Suvarnabhumi if we're going to be reaching these sort of targets.
Of course, and I think what you also point out is actually very, very important as well in terms of getting the quality tourists in. I truly believe, obviously, numbers is number, but in terms of getting the quality tourists in, not necessarily needs to be eco tourists, but in terms of spending, that may even, because in the market here, we're actually getting ourselves stuck in this vicious cycle of just competing on prices the whole time. You see it in the hotel, all around the city. By getting all these quality tourists in, you can actually focus a lot more on the product in itself. If you ask a lot of people what Thailand is actually famous for, we have the food, we have the culture and the heritage, that together with the whole service and the people and the religion and the temple. We have the natural asset, which are the mountains and the beaches. But then if you ask them again, what did they really like it? They will say value for money. Obviously we can have that whole concept and notion behind it, but then how can we move away from being known as a cheap place to come to?
Well, I can understand why you would want to see a higher percentage
Exactly.
price, because they're all going to stay at hotels like yours. We are little more than a stone's throw away from Khao San Road, which is apparently where we don't have. Do we have any backpackers here, or representing the backpacker community? No? Okay. And there is a case for saying we've got enough backpackers, let's just try and get more high spenders coming.
Exactly. I think it's not just for the hotel itself. I think it's also healthy for everybody too. I think it's healthy for the image of the country and of the the airline sector, the hotel sector, the retail sector. I think every it's a whole chain of events that can actually benefit from this.
Okay, final point, Conor. Final point: numbers versus.
I agree that I think quality, but it's better than quantity. Definitely, I think people should be looking at long term. They're not looking just the number for that year, but how to sustain it, and actually how the number is going to increase year after year. Because I think people are looking too much for short-term benefits, and I think it goes down from the top to the bottom level. For example, I've been to Gonang Yuan maybe 20 years ago. I went back there again a few years ago, and it's ruined. And people pave concrete pavement on the rocks, so they can actually put tables, so they can feed hundreds of people, tourists coming in. So that's all looking at short term and how they're going to gain, in next few years. So they should be looking at long term and how they can actually make that more sustainable. Yeah.
Very good. Thank you very much indeed. I'll take any questions. Does anyone want to put any questions on this specific point, or raise a point of view rather than? There's a young lady over there. If we could have a microphone. If you could tell us who you are and where you're from.
Jenny again from Holland. I study there. So I have two questions. First of all, you were talking about changing towards a more luxurious market, and I think it was the TAT that just started this whole. I think it's supposed to be a whole campaign, but they have this site. I think it's called Luxurious Thailand or something like that, which looks like a group selling site. But it's to promote the luxurious tourism in Thailand. Have you heard of that, and what do you think about it?
Good question, thank you.
I've actually heard of it. I haven't really seen it in person. I think it's good that they're actually trying to promote this, and obviously send out, this whole image. The issue is that, if there's something that happens again to the country. And I'm speaking from the hotel side. For example, if there's more flood, or if there's more political unrest, or if there's, let's say, SARS or any, force majeure, so to speak, then again we basically go back and start competing on prices. And this is actually what happened, or has been happening in our industry, as far as I'm concerned, especially in the last 4 or 5 years that we have seen. But this year has been good, and last year has been pretty good. So finger crossed.
Yeah, for me, I haven't heard of that campaign either, but I've heard of the TAT's Thailand Academy campaign. Have you heard of that? So I think actually to actually get more quality tourists, I don't think you should compete on the luxury level. I think it's more of the experience. And what THE is trying to do with that Thailand Academy is like bringing people in to actually get the real experience of what Thailand is all about, have a wonderful, memorable experience, go back and tell others. And to get that experience, it doesn't have to be cheap. You can actually charge money for it, but it doesn't have to be luxury, and it can be experienced anywhere. And I think Thailand, we have such a diverse background. We are so blessed with our nature that it doesn't have to be the same. It doesn't have to be everywhere has their own their own character, own local wisdom. So it can be any kind of experience. So I actually prefer that.
Yes, that's actually already going the way towards my second question. We were talking about how to make how to develop in a responsible way, and I would be interested in your point of view on some concrete examples. What would you like to see? So, for example, like the tourism, the Thailand Academy thing where you have the cooking classes, I guess, something like that. So more concrete examples, what you would like to see in the tourism industry in the future.
Okay. Maybe an example of what we're doing at the moment, because what we're doing in Sampran, okay, we don't have a beach, we don't have any mountains, we just have a river running by us, okay. So I try to dig something, something for people to come. I have to create an attraction. We're not even in a destination, we're just one hour in the middle of nowhere. But I see how the local people live. We are predominantly fruit growers, so we do an organic farm. We get people to come, pick something fresh and then do the cooking class, and then we have the local way, we have the local traditions, the local dance. So I mean, this is a very easy example, but I'm sure this can be done everywhere. And don't try to do anything out of your natural or geographical position, because you're going to look funny and it's not going to be sustainable. So that's
I kind of still stuck with the first question that you had earlier, and to me, for Thailand to be moving away from a cheap destination, I think it's going to take some time. It will not happen overnight, because we have been appealing to a young group of people. The government has been promoting Thailand as a fun destination. And even the current ads that they are running, it's portraying the same thing. Memorable experience, amazing Thailand. All that is appealing to the young crowd. And therefore, when these people come, of course, they definitely not the top spenders, of our clients. Another thing is, the majority of tourists that come to Thailand is Asians, and the big chunk is the Chinese and the Indians. The Chinese will continue to grow. I think we will continue to do extremely well with the Chinese tourists, and I think I don't think we have to move away from being a cheap destination, but what we have to be is to be a quality destination. We have to manage our tourists properly, managed in a way that we have to educate them. We have to almost I don't want to be rude, but
you've got to speak. You're up here to speak your mind. I know what you're. Let me say it for you, okay? We could get to 30 million by simply just bring in all these Chinese tour groups.
Yes.
Okay? We'll have 30 million next week, but the vast majority of them, let's say, have a little bit to learn in terms of social etiquette and how to behave when they're traveling in another country. We need to quickly produce some signs that say no spitting, Okay, I'm sorry, but we do. And the industry, we're not ready for them. How many hotels in Bangkok have got the fire escape details on the back of the hotel, back of your door? How many of those are in Mandarin? You know, the hotel catches fire, they don't know where to go. The menus are not in Chinese. The staff can't speak the language. So we're not ready for them. They want to come. They're desperate to travel, but the industry is not ready for the Chinese invasion.
In time to come, you know, we will be, but I think they will just have to develop to the right way. The government would have to be more strict, and they have to enforce the laws more strictly, you know, with the investors, the developers, the hoteliers, the tour operators, and the tourists. You know, it's all the same. They have to be very strict with the standards of law enforcement. That's how I see it. But we cannot deny tourists, you know, we cannot deny guests, you know. We just have to adapt ourselves to it. That's how I see it.
I'd love to chair a debate about the enforcement of the law in Thailand, but it would be the last words I spoke before being deported, I think. So we're going to move swiftly on away from this dangerous ground. Because I really do rather like living and working in Thailand, and I don't wish to be arrested in the near future. I want to get on to this issue, because we spent more time on that subject than I thought we would. So I want to come on to this one, because here we are in a seat of learning, very famous university at the heart of Bangkok, and there are people, young men and women in this room who one day will be leaders in their respective fields. And I think those of us who are, I don't know, what are we called now? We're called silver agers. Anyway, when you've been around for a few years, it's not only a pleasure to share your experiences, it's actually our responsibility. And we learn from the younger generation the same way that we hope that you learn from us. But we expect certain things when you're coming through and you're finishing your education and you're getting your first and second job. So what are we looking for? You are all in positions of authority where you would be looking to recruit young, bright, clever, well-educated graduates taking their first job in the travel or tourism industry. What are you looking for today? Kunjitama. And are you recruiting at the moment? Let's establish. Are there job vacancies?
Yes.
There are?
Yes.
Okay.
I like young, bright people. They give me hope. When I look at them, you know, when I talk to them, it's... I like to see enthusiasm. I like to see eagerness. I like to see the energy, you know, in the young people. Because after beyond 45, you know, the fire dies, and you kind of, you know, sit there and...
Speak for yourself.
Yes, I'm speaking for myself.
Last time I checked, there were still some embers.
But yes, I do like the, you know, the fire in the young people, and I like to see that. And Thammasat, this is a great school here, you know, Thammasat University. It would be, I think for the young people, they would need extra experience. They would need to travel, they need to open the world. They have to travel a little bit, you know, especially if you're going to be in this industry. Have to travel, see the world, come back, you know, and go for it.
Indeed.
Basically.
Just two important words there, young and bright. Hands up if you think you are young and bright. Come on. Well, there's one or two hands and there's stretching bounds of credulity. So I'm going to put my hand up too. I'm joining the crowd, okay? So the room is full of potential applicants for all these vacancies at your property. Just before I move on, one serious question. We talked about the Chinese issue. In your personal view, and with you know, you wear many hats, I know, but is the need to be able to speak Mandarin now almost as important as a very good command of the English language?
If you gear towards the Chinese tourists, yes, it's a must, because it's the only way that you could communicate with them. And it's not only the language, it's also the culture that you have to understand them as well, because they come from a different world, and basically they don't mind being told what to do, apparently, based on my experience. But if they feel that you are the authority, they respect that. So I think to understand the culture, to be able to speak the language, that would be a plus. And it's a huge gold mine, to reap from that. It's up to you, it's up to us, how we would manage and bring in those tourists.
Thank you. Let's move this time to Kunalud, if we may. Just to swap it around a little bit.
Recruiting.
Yes. Okay, now obviously you've just got one property, so your turnover of staff is going to be obviously in numbers terms a lot less, but you're still looking for talent.
Okay, I'm looking at all the qualities that she said just now, and I totally disagree that 45 that your fire is going out. I'm going to be 45 this year, and I feel like I'm 18 always. But I think what I'm looking for, because we're just one small family property, we're not looking to grow in terms of the size, but we're looking to diversify into other businesses related to what we're doing. So I'm looking for someone who really fits our company culture. And numbers is not really important for me. It's not like in the next year I don't really have I've been working for 20 years. I've been working I was a stockbroker. I was in Shell. I don't believe in these 5-year plans or whatever, or I only believe in 1 year, because all those 5-year plans never come true, and you always forget what you did the year before, So I don't believe in that. I more believe in living the moment, if you see my quote. But anyway, but for the people who if I recruit them, and I think I would try to see if the person would fit my company culture, or that person really has the heart and the honesty and the loyalty, as well as all the qualities that she said. Yeah.
Thank you. Consider that. Now, I've lost track of the number of new hotels that you're opening. How many have you got now just in Thailand?
Well, I kind of lost track of that too, actually.
But expanding overseas.
We are. Hopefully from now until 2016-17, we're hoping to be opening about 5 properties a year. All overseas. Actually, the only current ongoing project in the pipeline in Thailand is actually in Khao Yai. But all of us, we want to really go overseas, and actually human resources is actually one of the most important issues that we are having as well as a company. What we're trying to do is we're trying to develop a program where we can actually develop people abroad. We are actually in a bit of a pickle here, because for us as a Thai hotel company, we need to grow our own people who are based here in Thailand, Thai people, so to speak, because we want to export the Thainess overseas. Yet again, we Thai as Thai does not really like to travel abroad that much, or to live abroad per se. We are under quite great disadvantage with our neighbors, especially as far as countries like the Filipinos are concerned, because these guys, they have the language and everything, and to be honest, we have to ask ourselves, are we gonna really embrace this, AEC, the Asian Economic Community? I think it's gonna be something that is so great, but then I think what we're looking for is the Thai, the future staff to have that mentality of wanting to go abroad, to really kind of open the horizon.
So we need to see a little bit more adventure and a bit more mobility of labour from the younger generation.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's actually 2 things here. I think one is actually in the student in themselves, and actually one is actually also within the organization as well. And I say this because a lot of the organization do not really let the young talents kind of grow. I think we need to replace. I think general managers needs to be less general and become more of a leaders. if you know what I mean. I mean, you get managers who will just be looking at their P&L and their GOP, and comes the the end of the month.
Well, that's because their owners are very demanding in terms of return on investment.
No, it's true, but I think you need to look for an institution that's willing to look further beyond the whole financial means, and really invest in developing young talents as well.
Do you fall into that category?
We are not doing enough, unfortunately, but I think because of what I've been saying to you, within the past few years, we've been trying to restructure our organization, and hopefully we'll be able to do that. For us, it's so important.
Are you going to go back and tell your father that you've made a commitment here today to make these changes?
I think he knows about it already. I mean, growing human resources is not the most easiest task in the world. I mean, for us, it's going to take a long time, but I mean, you have to be very committed to it. I mean, you cannot go and open the hotel abroad and then use the managers and the directors of other hotel companies. Our partner who are married to us, so to speak, wants do-sit bond, do-sit bread managers, general managers, and director and staff to really go out and really kind of export our brands, you see. And we can't do this by bringing people from the outsider in. So actually growing people, having the succession planning is part of what we do. I think what we're looking for students who are and staff who are willing to really travel out and try new things, and then basically just look beyond the concept that has been put in place by the conventional realm of business management, basically.
Thank you very much indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, our time is almost up, so it's a chance for final questions. I just want to ask one question. For the young bright men and women in the room, the students, this is not a difficult question, don't worry, looking worried at the back. Just put your hands up if you would consider actually going to work overseas. Taking a job overseas. Who would? Hands right up if okay. All right. I mean, the good news is that you can get Thai food in other countries now, which I know is first and foremost on so many people's minds that I can't live without my noodles every day. Okay, well, you've got encouraging numbers here, haven't you? I mean, they talk about the Brits, we miss our roast beef and Yorkshire pudding, but there's a lot of us here in Thailand, we sort of get to live without it. Right, final questions before I have to wrap up. Jenny, you're very quiet. You've got nothing else to tell us. Well, feel free to have a chat with the panelists afterwards. If there are no final questions, can I ask you to put your hands together for our 3 expert panelists? And if I can just close by thanking Pata once again for inviting me to moderate. At every skull function we say a little toast which essentially is happiness, friendship, good health and long life, and may I wish that upon all of you. Thank you very much indeed.
Yes, thank you to our young and bright moderator and the speakers. So, yeah, please stay. And may I invite Professor Perry Hobson to present some gift for you as appreciation. So please come. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. I think I have to look that way. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, well, you couldn't be a bit rude to give you that one, would it? And thank you very much for your sponsorship as well. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks very much. Oh, hang on. ยังแน่
Apparently there's a good
That's right, I know. The only name you've got from his 20 birthday. Would have been really good at the 60s and the 70s. Oh, I know.
Cheers. Thanks very much.
Okay, the final presentation of today's forum is by Mr. Peter Jordan, International Relations Officer, WYSD Travel Confederation, the Netherlands. It is a global industry body for youth travel. Mr. Jordan is a shining star for the next gen, and he works his way up through the tourism industry in a very short period of time. He led educational tours around Europe and he built some management experience in Spain. From year 2008 to year 2012, he worked for the UNWTO on educating affiliate members for emerging market segments and also seeking new business opportunity. Today, he is going to present under the topic, Looking Ahead, the Big Picture. Please welcome Mr. Peter Jordan.
Okay, while our friends just rearrange some of the stage and the table and things, I'd like to ask you to stay with me. As Dale said, the combination of it being a Thursday afternoon, we've had a very nice lunch, it's hot outside, and I've got jet lag, so that's a fantastic combination. However, I have had the very sugary coffee that they offer here, and that has been a lifesaver, so it's kept me awake. I hope you stay awake as well. I've prepared a presentation this afternoon which I hope is going to bring together a lot of the themes that we've been talking about today. The issue of the complete visitor economy, the issue of the Pater's philosophy of next generation, some of the issues of young people travelling and young people working in the travel and tourism sector, because I'm going to talk about youth travel. But not when I talk about youth travel, we're talking about educational travel, about work abroad, about volunteering schemes, about a massive industry that is worth an enormous amount of money. I'm not going to give away too much at the moment because I'm going to ask you to stay with me while we go through my presentation. I've decided to put your focus over onto the big screen here, and just in a couple of moments we'll be ready to start the presentation.